Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Don't miss today's Price of Business is brought to you in part by Abbey Executive Suites, 123 Employee, Donna Wick PR, and Standard Supply. I'm going to spend some time this segment talking about cracking the code to leadership with Patrick Malone, who's a senior partner at the PAR Group. And you can learn more about the PAR Group at thepargroup.com. That's P-A-R. Patrick, welcome to the program. Tell me a little bit about yourself and the PAR Group.
Thanks for having me on, Kevin. The PAR Group is a international consulting and training firm, and we specialize in influencing skills, which are the skills that leaders use to get willing followers. So that's our work, and I've been involved with the group for about 24 years now. Have done business all over the globe, I think, at 26 or 27 countries outside of the U.S.
Very good, very good. Let me ask you about the scope of your clientele, the size of clients, industries, that type of thing.
Yeah, well, because we're in the training business, we need to know a lot about our prospective client before we can engage. Because if we don't, we just look like another Me Too training program. And our sustainable difference is we're able to differentiate ourselves by customizing what we do to the needs of the individual company. So when I prospect, when I'm looking for new business, I do an awful lot of research before I ever attempt to contact the company or the organization that I'm looking at. And I think that goes back to our original philosophy about we don't try to be interesting. We try to be interested. Because people like when you're interested in them and their organizations.
That, by the way, is one of my favorite adages. I use it all the time. You know, that one, and people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so we live in such a selfie-driven culture that people are jumping to the chase as to why someone should engage with them in doing business before even finding out if there's a natural reason there to do business with one another.
Yeah, and I think, you really only have a suspect when you start out until you're able to answer, at least in our case, 3 basic questions. Is there a need for your product or services? Do you understand the decision-making processes and who's involved? And does the company have the resource to execute what you're proposing? And until you get questioned, get those answers, you don't know whether you've got a really well-qualified prospect.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, we lived in a culture, historically where relationship was the primary driver. My mentor, my business mentor used to always tell me, and still does, in fact, we get together for lunch every month. He reminds me, the 3 most important words in business are relationship, and relationship. I think we've lost that.
Yeah, we are losing some of that, and that really is the basis. I personally believe that people buy you first before they buy your product or service, and that really is why relationships are so important, to build that confidence that allows that customer to buy into you first and then your product or services.
Yep, absolutely. So are most of your clients CEOs?
Yeah, most of them, not necessarily CEOs, but they're C-level executives. We do a lot of our work in Salesforce development. So we're talking to a lot of VPs of marketing, a lot of VPs of sales. And then when you say
Salesforce development, are you alluding to the brand Salesforce.com?
No, not necessarily. I mean, we do use that for some of our CRM material, but we're not focused on that part of it. We're focused on the actual skills that help people do a better job of obtaining customers. I mean, I remember I said we're focused on leadership. If you define leadership as the ability to gain a willing follower to a given course of action, if you change the word follower to customer, you have a sales application for leadership.
Well, that's a great note to end on. Patrick Malone, he's senior partner with the PAR Group. That's P-A-R, thepargroup.com. Great book over there, by the way, that you're going to want to check out called Cracking the Code to Leadership. I strongly encourage you to check that out at thepargroup.com. And I want to thank you for being with us today and reminding my audience on the importance of being interested rather than interesting. What a lost art. And thanks for your time.
Thanks, Kevin, for having me on. I appreciate it.
You bet. When we come back, much more for you. I want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at usdailyreview.com. And this is The Price of Business.